Buying a new watch was a lot easier a few years ago. You would simply settle on a great known watch brand, decide on a style, and pull the trigger. Well, that's pretty much what I've always done. However, this year I decided to jump on the smartwatch train and go full steam ahead to what I assume to be a dramatic lifestyle change. The reason I hadn't made the switch before now is because I felt that smartwatches weren't fully developed yet, and more so not essential to my technological lifestyle. If you own any form of smartphone and are unsure whether to make the jump or not, stick around and I'll run you through my opinion on whether a smartwatch is worth the leap, and if so, whether the Galaxy Watch is a worthy contender. I'm Nick, and this is my final review of the Samsung Galaxy Watch after more than 2 months of use. Unlike its competition, the Galaxy Watch comes across a lot more subtle. From a distance, it is hard to distinguish it from a standard watch due to its round face and classical analog watch style. Of course, if you snatch up a ridiculous strap, it may be a little easier to tell it's a smartwatch. I prefer the subtle look, and that is why I decided to ditch the sporty watch band and opt for a silver stainless steel band as well as a simple leather strap. All three of my straps are brilliant in their own way for mixing and matching with different outfits. However, the original band is still my go-to band when it comes to comfort and lightweight, when I decide to do some physical exercise or take a beach holiday. It is brilliant quality, flexible and sweat resistant. It is tough and adjusts to different climates and water very well. I have never been one to switch watch straps as often as I do now, and that is only because I have never been treated to such a simple way to do so. Besides from the straps and style, the watch itself is solid. The home and back buttons are clicky and have a nice textured grip to them. The rotating bezel, which we will get to in a bit, has a premium feel to it when used and hasn't picked up a scratch. The watch glass is Gorilla Glass DX Plus certified, and I haven't felt the need to get a screen guard. The metal frame is tough as well. There is a speaker on the left of the watch and the heart rate sensor down at the bottom on its premium hard plastic, which feels comfortable on the skin. I have been using the Galaxy Watch for almost 2 months now, and I must say I haven't exactly been careful with it. I've bashed it against tables, chairs and walls, and after a thorough inspection I can only see one tiny scratch on the metal frame, which is only noticeable up close. Not only does the style and material get my approval, but the build quality has my thumbs up too. Whether you pick up the 46 or 42mm version, you won't be disappointed in style or quality, since they are the same apart from the size and battery life. You have a choice of midnight black or rose gold when picking up the smaller version, but its bigger brother is limited to just silver, which would have been my go-to choice regardless. I opted for the bigger variant as I have average sized wrists but prefer a bigger watch face. It feels manlier and truly complements the watch. The 42mm is great too. It fits my wife's wrist size well, but is still bigger than what she is used to, so even though it is a step in the right direction for a woman, it is still a bit chunky. The only thing I could complain about when it comes to the build is that it is a bit thick. It does stick out quite a bit regardless of the model you pick up, but you will adjust to it. It's not the worst thing, and in my opinion is the Galaxy Watch's only physical build flaw. Starting with the main feature of any watch, the design of the watch face. Thanks to Samsung's great Tizen OS, there are multiple watch faces to choose from analog to digital to a mix of the both, all including quick view options such as battery life, weather, the date and steps, which can all be adjusted to any available quick icon you decide on, which can even include the always-on heart rate sensor. However, the customization of these icons, as well as the watch colors, can only be done on Samsung-made watch faces. Any third-party watch face you install is set and cannot be adjusted. Once you have installed and saved your favorite watch faces, you can seamlessly change them on the watch itself or using the Galaxy Wear app on your smartphone, which allows you to adjust all the settings of your watch, including app and widget order, the notification panel, and all the general settings on the watch, which I found a lot easier to do the first time I set the watch up to my preference. The settings found in the watch are similar to all the settings you would find on your smartphone, such as the volume, vibration feedback modes, display brightness, and much more. When speaking about the display, you are treated to a vivid and bright 1.3-inch OLED display, which is pretty visible in daylight. Whether you enable the always-on display or not, the watch dims down when you are not looking at it or using it. When the always-on display is off, the watch turns off, and when on, it is very dim and wastes a ton of battery for no real reason in daylight situations, since it becomes pointless when in such bright light. I prefer a watch to always be displaying the clock, and though it reduces the battery life from a solid 4 days of use to barely 2, I would have preferred there to be an option where the always on display is actually always on instead of simply dimmed. For that feature alone, I would be fine with even just 1 day of battery life. Though there is a speaker on the side of the watch, it is not as loud as one would hope, which defeats the purpose of making a call on the watch when in a crowd. Though you wouldn't find much joy of listening to your offline Spotify playlist through the speaker itself, there is Bluetooth 4.2, which allows you to pair a wireless set of headphones to the watch, which makes for a great running session without having your phone on you, though you may be limited to how much music you can take with you on the go due to its limited 4 gigs of local storage, which cannot be upgraded, and 2 gigs is already being used due to software and pre-installed applications. If you are not a fan of Spotify, you can always transfer any music you have downloaded on your phone over to the watch using the Galaxy Wear app. The watch itself is smooth, but sometimes has a slight lag to it due to its limited 768 MB of RAM, which is already being used up quite a bit by the OS. However, if you decide to pick up the LTE model, that will be bumped up to 1.5 gigs of RAM, which is ideal and should have been included in the Bluetooth model as well, as it should speed things up quite a bit. I understand that not much power needs to go into such a device, but Samsung's new Exynos 9110 dual-core 1.15 GHz chipset does a fine job in keeping things snappy when using the watch regularly. The only thing I could complain about is how the watch recognizes its built-in raise to wake gesture. It doesn't always work first time, and when it does work, I'm not even trying to look at my watch, though I have noticed this improves since the recent software updates. When it comes to Tizen OS, you can customize multiple things. You can add app shortcuts to the side of the watch face, click the home button to return home, or once home, open your apps menu where you can edit the app order. You can add and change the order of your preferred widgets, which are available for most apps you install. As mentioned before, this can all be done using the Galaxy Wear app on your phone, which can be installed on any Android or iOS device. Yes, this watch works on any phone too. One of the perks of owning this watch, you don't have to worry about compatibility. Even my wife's Vivo phone pairs with the Galaxy Watch and works just as well as it does with my Note 9. Flicking through pages, app drawers and widgets can be done by a flick of the touchscreen watch face or with the rotating bezel. Having used the rotating bezel for quite a while now, I feel this should be a feature on all smartwatches. I only ever use the touchscreen when it is vital to do so, and using the bezel allows you to view things on the watch without having your finger in the way of the display. I couldn't imagine using a smartwatch without this feature. It feels sturdy and is aided by a satisfying clicky sound, much like an old school rotating lock. Flying through the watch with the bezel, you will find Samsung's nifty weather widget, which expands and allows you to rotate through the forecast for the next few days. You can also add widgets such as the alarm, full calendar, reminders, favorite contacts, Samsung Health at a glance, and even extra health widgets such as sleep records, glasses of water and coffee, and detailed stats on your previous runs if you would like. Speaking of Samsung Health, there is a ton of features to be made use of, and pairing it with the app on your phone, you can keep track of any form of exercise, sleep and your heart rate. The latter can be set to always on, which tracks your heart rate, constantly keeping you aware of when you are being too hard on yourself or when you simply won't leave the sofa. You are also reminded when you have been inactive for too long and should do some form of exercise. Health seems to suggest you do a few torso twists. Though this is nice and a sweet little get-go action, this is the only suggestion there is. Don't fool yourself. Doing 5 torso twists an hour isn't going to aid you in that weight loss you have been longing for. This is known as inactive time alerts and can be disabled should it bug you. Samsung Health can also automatically detect that you are doing a workout such as walking, cycling, training, rowing, or just being active. This works great as I am a teacher and it feels good to be noticed when I am jumping around in class acting like a fool. However, I have noticed that the watch thinks I am cycling when I ride my electric scooter to work, so unfortunately I had to disable that one. Being able to always track your heart rate is a huge deal for people with heart issues and can aid in the average user as well, as it can read your different stages of sleep. Have you ever felt tired even though you felt you had a lengthy sleep? Well, I know I have, and now that I actually see how well I sleep at night, I've realized why I have been feeling so tired all my life. Though it may not be 100% accurate, I now know how much light and deep sleep I have in a night and how often my body is still awake. Thanks to my new companion, I now know when I should be heading off to bed. If you ever decide to take your phone with you to the pool or the beach, don't be alarmed. The Galaxy Watch comes packed with a 5 ATM water resistance rating, meaning you can go up to 50 meters deep in any form of water. Don't be fooled into thinking this is a diving watch though, as it can only be 50 meters deep for 10 minutes. However, if you go for a swim, you will be happy to hear that you can swim for around up to 2 hours without worry. You also need not worry about having your watch go crazy underwater thanks to Samsung's waterlock feature, which disables the touchscreen from being used accidentally when you go for a swim. Another cool thing about this is that when you turn the feature off, it plays a tune to throw any excess water out the speaker, giving you that extra peace of mind. Speaking of disabling the watch interface, you can also enable good night mode when heading off to bed, which puts the watch into a sleep mode where your display won't accidentally turn on while you sleep. Don't worry though, your active heart rate sensor will remain on while it tracks your sleep. This also helps preserve the battery while you're resting. The battery is one of the biggest in its class, weighing in at 472 mAh on the 46mm version. Through my usage of the watch, I have noticed a whopping 4 days of use with the always on display and heart rate sensor off. However, if you are anything like me, you're going to want those features turned on, which makes for a slight above average 2 days of use, which is still okay in my books. If you decide to go for the smaller 42mm version, you'll be looking at half the battery life since it's packed with a 270 mAh battery. You will be getting roughly 2 days of use without the always on display and sensor, and around a day of use with these features enabled. When needing to refuel, you are treated to a wireless charging dock in the box, which will juice up either versions in 2 hours. This is a bit disappointing since my Note 9 with a 4000 mAh battery fuels up in the same time. But that's okay since I use my phone a lot more than I use my watch, so popping it in its neat little cradle while I catch up on some Netflix isn't such a deal breaker for me. There are only 2 major downfalls for me when it comes to the Galaxy Watch, and that is that you cannot charge it on just any wireless charger you have laying around, and if you decide to change your phone, your watch will automatically factory reset. So if you upgrade your phone, be sure to back up your watch using the Galaxy Wear app on your phone first. Overall, my experience with Samsung's new and improved Galaxy Watch has been a breath of fresh air. It can do anything I would want from a smartwatch and then some. I can track my sleep, my activities, and it looks damn brilliant. Having a smartwatch has not entirely changed the way that I go about my days, but it has certainly made things more convenient. Being able to adjust an alarm, check the weather, quickly see notifications coming through on my phone, and simply just checking the time in numerous ways has made my life more user-friendly. I now find myself using my phone a lot less due to not having to pull it out every second, which allows me to focus on real-life tasks, which has essentially made me a better person. If you are in the market for a new watch, why not make it a smartwatch? And if my word is anything to go by, then I can happily tell you to pick up Samsung's Galaxy Watch. It is certainly a great eye-opener to what a smartwatch can actually do, and is for sure a contender for Smartwatch of the Year. If you are yet to subscribe, be sure to smash that button down below and give me a thumbs up. Until next time guys, this is Technic.